Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the season premiere of The Walking Dead. I will say without a doubt, this is probably the hardest episode for me to watch. That finale messed me up just from a camera perspective, and then when you fade to black and you just hear it happening, it's just like, oh, it turned my stomach inside out. Like, because by the time I started watching, like, caught up with season 6, that had already been out for a little while, and I already knew, like, people had their different opinions about how the season ended, so I already knew what would lead up to. I was like, I knew someone got killed, but at first I was like, oh, someone just got killed, but then later on, as time went on, because I hadn't watched the season yet, I found out, I was like, oh, someone got killed, but you don't know who it is. They set it up like that. I was like, wow, I had no idea. So I caught the season and everything, so it was super fresh in my head, coming into this season. And man, oh man, did they love teasing it out too. It's just like, oh, who's dead? You don't know. All you're going to see is Rick being dragged away by Negan with all like the brains and stuff splattered all on the ground. And my goodness, is Jeffrey Dean Morgan not the scariest freaking dude? I mean, really, the only other bad person you've ever come across in this series was like the governor, but he makes the governor look like a punk. Holy crap, because I've seen Jeffrey Dean Morgan in some stuff here and there, but I've never seen him play a character like this. It's like, I know him as Papa Winchester on Supernatural. I know him as like the main character in the movie The Losers, but it's like seeing him as Negan is scary because this was legitimately the hardest episode for me to watch. What made it worse is I ended up getting a headache. I still kind of have it during all this recording because this is like the last one I'm recording of the 3. But, I literally got a headache a little bit before the episode started because I felt it in my stomach. I was like, man, I'm not going to want to watch this. And I won't lie to you. This show is actually hard for me to watch on certain, because I tense up because I'm like, oh, with this show, you don't know where danger can strike. Someone can literally die at any moment in any freaking way. And it makes me get all tensed up, which kind of screws me over because I get tensed up and I'm like, is that it? Okay, that turned out to be nothing. And while I'm trying to come back from tensing up over that nothing, then that thing happened and it freaks me out. I know, like, I'm going off book, like, going well off reservation here saying all this stuff, but it's just, like, I have to, like, just kind of explain this a little bit to you, because I have to admit to you, there were parts of this episode I was so hesitant to, like, watch. I had to keep looking away from the screen and muting, like, the TV, because it made me that uncomfortable. And so, like I said, plus the headache, too, just, to me, that just made it weirder, because I was like, I don't know whether that's my brain reacting to the factors of what's going down, But, like I said, they teased the hell out of it. It's like, oh, you see Rick seeing all the black and white versions of everyone, what the memories they've accumulated, and I honestly didn't know who it was going to be. My money was kind of possibly it being Eugene, but then at the same time, I was like, with the way where the brains were, I was like, okay, like, and you see Rick being dragged away, I was like, so was that someone beside Rick? So the person that was beside him was like Sasha to his right, but then I saw the blood on his like face, and I was like, oh man, that meant it was someone to the other side, and it turns out that person was Abraham. I'm like, dude, that sucked. But then I was like, it kind of makes sense. God, anybody, Abraham would take it. He's like, oh, look at you, you're still up. But just I kept beating him down. I felt so bad for Rosita. It felt so bad for Sasha. It's like, dude, of course they would do that. It was just like, dude, this sucks so much ass. And then it gets worse because next is Glenn. I was like, no! I literally was like, no! I thought we were getting 1, not 2. I mean, granted, that happened because Daryl, went after Negan after he killed Abraham. But I was like, no! And he stopped, like, partway through with Glenn, and it's like Glenn was still kind of, his head's caved in a little bit. It's just like, Glenn, no! It broke my heart, and then he finished the job, and I'm like, Maggie, this sucks, dude. 2 people that had connections to people in the group. I mean, obviously big connection. Like, Sasha and Rosita are probably the most upset about Abraham, especially also Eugene too, because they kind of had that, like, they had that hug it out moment last episode, because that's what, like, you know, in the end of season 6, because they did a fantastic job of making it seem like it could be anyone. It's like, oh yeah, Eugene handed over the plans for ammunition to Rick, so it's like, oh yeah, they could easily talk him out. Like, because to me, killing Glenn is something you wouldn't expect, because it's like, you have your main casters, and you kind of think like, oh yeah, they're not, like, you at the very least, you're kind of thinking like, no, there's no way they're going to kill off someone main, all right? It's like, yeah, they've killed off main characters to an extent in the past, you know, like Will in the past. It's not like this is the first time, but it's like, you wouldn't expect anyone, like, to me, if they were, like, what I mean by main is someone like Michonne or something. It's like, yo, someone who's been a part of, Glenn has been a part of the team since day one. He's one of the original cast members, and they killed him. Like, that means so much. I mean, for one, it screws over Maggie. She has to raise that baby on her own. It's just, baby's going to be a constant reminder of what she lost. I mean, it could be a good thing and a constant reminder of what she had, but it sucks. It's like, dude, they killed one of the OG survivors, dude. It's like, I would have never thought Glenn. Never would have crossed my mind it would have been Glenn. Let alone Abraham and Glenn. Holy crap, dude. And they freaking took Daryl too, dude. That's, oh my God. And then that whole situation, taking Rick off and telling Rick, is like, okay, if I were you, you know, you're talking about you want to kill me. May not be today, tomorrow, someday. And, you know, Negan put him in his place, dude. That's why I mean, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, so good. He is literally the best bad guy I think that's ever appeared on Walking Dead, because there hasn't been that many. There's been some pretty crappy people. Sure, the governor was like one, but like I said, he makes the governor look like nothing, dude. Holy crap. The governor did some pretty outrageous stuff. I mean, the last big thing he did, you know, when he attacked the prison, was cut off Herschel's head. But still, oh my, but it's just, I don't know, they're just on different levels. Like, Negan is very brutal. He gets hands deep into some crap, but then he's like telling Rick, go ahead and try and do it. Rick picks up the axe and tries to go after him, but he pulls a gun on him. It's just like, yo, you need to think this through. You still got some people back there. Things could go down a lot worse if you want them to. And he throws the axe out there. They're surrounded by walkers, and he's like, bring me my axe back. Now, this is the last time I'm going to tell you, I'm like, dude, because Negan's unpredictable. It's like, dude, I didn't know what he was going to do next. I was like, I didn't know if he was going to swing the bat at someone just to kind of make a point, especially because Rick is thinking in the back of his mind, he's getting that vision of everyone kind of getting their heads knocked off. Now getting their heads bashed in. Now, that's something I am curious about. I haven't looked that up because I just, you know, obviously, but it's probably something I'm going to look up after this. Did they already know with the season 6 finale who they were going to kill, or was it not until they were getting ready to film season 7? They're like, all right, we've made the decision. We've taken a breakaway. You know, obviously season 6 finishing up. Now we're starting production in season 7. We've decided who dies. You know, maybe they're like, okay, Abraham's dead. I was like, oh man, it sucked. And then they're like, okay, maybe they're partway filming through it, and they're like, okay, and now Glenn dies. They're like, wait, what? That's how I like to imagine it. It's just like, I'm very curious, like, how long did they know that they were going to kill both Abraham and Glenn? But dude, like, you've never, like, because Negan even says it himself, it's like, you've lived so long thinking you're king of the castle, like, that you were the king of you ran this whole operation. It's like, but you don't now. You belong to me. Your people belong to me. Everything you get belongs to me. I mean, at least we get our half of it. It's just like, he really set them in their place, dude, and it just... Especially that situation where Carl got guns at the back of everybody's head, and he's like, I want you to cut off your son's arm. And it's like, oh, crap. Because I've heard a little bit of what happens to Rick in the comic books, that he gets messed up to certain degrees. So I was kind of thinking, like, you know, he was like, okay, cut my arm. No, cut off my arm. And Negan's like, no, I told you to cut off your son's arm. Now, and I'm going to have to start counting now. And if you don't get it done, I'm going to blow everyone's brains out. He's like, make sure the guns are positioned in the right way so that when you pull the trigger, it's a big explosion out of their face. I'm like, dude. And he's counting down 3. I was like, oh, God. Oh, God. And then you have Rick picking up the hatchet. I'm like, dude, he's going to screw you over and just kill him anyways. And, please don't. And he stops Rick. I'm like, oh, God. I was like, but I was still like clenching up a little bit. I'm like, he's going to do something. He's going to do something. He's going to do something. It's okay. He didn't do anything. It just got me super hard. Like, I've never had this reaction to anything I've ever watched before. Because, like, I don't know, because this is literally, because I don't watch Game of Thrones, not because I have a thing against it or anything. It's just something I haven't taken the time to check out. I mean, I'll probably do it once it's all completed, I know, but still, But with this show, this is the only show, this is my Game of Thrones where it's like anyone could die at any moment. And it's kind of like, oh, you think like Rick or somebody is safe or something? To me, this kind of shows you no one is safe. They kill someone like Glenn. I mean, granted, I don't know what Glenn's status is in the comic book. I know certain people in the comic books are still alive. Graphic novel. I'm sorry if I'm pissing someone off by saying comic book when it's really a graphic novel. I apologize. Personally, I'm admit to you, I'm ignorant. I don't really know the difference between them. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible human being. I apologize for that. Nevertheless, I don't know how they fare in that version, how the characters fare in that version compared to this. I know some characters that survived in the show died in the comic book / graphic novel, whereas people who lived in the comic book / graphic novel ended up dying in the show but living in comic, so I don't know where Glenn stands in that. Plus, Glenn is a character because he even makes an appearance in like the Telltale Walking Dead game, so he's kind of like all across the board. Like, I was surprised, dude. Literally in the back of my mind, there's just kind of, especially when he made that right hand man comment, I was like, is it Daryl? I was like, it's like they wouldn't do that to Norman Reedus. Come on, they wouldn't do. I mean, but who's that? I mean, he might be better off dead. No telling what the hell they're gonna do to him. I mean, this is the first time we've ever seen the group broken. I mean, they were afraid to even move after like Negan and his men had left. Everyone was just kind of just there, tears in their eyes, just like shaking. It's just like, holy crap, they are broken. You see Rick broken. Rick has never been like that, never been afraid of a fight. And it's like, you got Maggie standing up like, okay, I'm gonna make it to the doctors. You guys go back to Alexandria, you arm up and we kill those son of a bitches. And Rick's like, no, we can't, Maggie. They've got the numbers, we won't win. And she's just kind of like, just go back. I can make it on my own. And Sasha's like, no, I'll go with her, make sure she gets there. Okay, it's just, damn it, so heartbreaking. And then you see Sasha, Rosita, and Eugene picking up Abraham's body. You see Glenn. When it comes to Glenn, you have Carl, home dude there that's trying to be supportive for Maggie. I forgot his name already, and just all of them trying to picking Glenn up, and it's just like, dude. What makes it even worse is when Rick is driving away and he looks in the rear view and he sees that walker kind of going over to where Glenn was, because that moment broke me, dude. I was crying because everyone else was tearing up and crying. It's like especially when Rick was like, "Let us get him." He was family, and it's like, no, dude, that sucks, dude. It's not the first time this has happened. It's just like there are so many deaths in this series that are just kind of, Maggie has literally lost everything. All right, okay, it sucks. First losing her dad, and then at the very least she still had her sister. It's like, oh yeah, your sister's right there in front of you. Well, no, you're about to go meet up with your sister. Your sister's right there in front of everyone, and she gets shot and killed. And it's like, crap. And now your husband, your baby's father, was beaten in front of you. And what makes it even more twisted is you can see, like, partway through the beat, you can still see his hand twitching a little bit. I'm like, I've never had such a vile reaction to TV, dude. That just destroyed me. I was so brokenhearted. I can't say that enough. I'm very curious to see where they go with. Like, I wonder will they try to humanize him, because even the gov, they tried to the governor, they tried to humanize him, explaining him kind of being the way he is. Will we get that with Negan? I mean, that's a question. How did Negan get in the position he's in with all these men loyal to him like that? I mean, Rick's got his own people and everything, but to the scale Negan's got like what? Probably like 4, 5, 6 times the more manpower he has. And it's just like, I'm very curious to see where things progress from here. It's like, yo, they've never been this outmatched before, because anytime a fight's come, they've always been ready to fight. But now their spirits broken. And the fact is, they had to carry this all the way back to Alexandria with them, have to let everyone in Alexandria know what the new deal is. And it's like, shit, man, that fucking sucks. For multiple things. Let's not forget, Tara and Home Dude went on that little 2-week trip after the whole, like, going after the Saviors. After that, they went on that 2-week run. Remember, she doesn't know what happened to Denise. Another example of something like that, like unexpected deaths. It's like, oh, you're in a conversation and bam, arrow through your head, which sucked. It's one of those situations, like, I wanted Daryl to find Dwight, but it's like, yo, Dwight ended up finding that. Just, oh my God. And he's still up and around, dude. I get the feeling maybe at some point Rick might be able to get, like, the fact is, I can't even fathom them getting a revenge. It's like they are too outmatched. Not unless what Rick decides to do is bring everyone together, everyone that's under Negan's control, and kind of bring it full circle and kind of put Negan in that situation where you bash his brains. That's the only way I see this going, but I can't even fathom how you get there. Like I said, they're so beaten down and broken. But the fact is, like I said, the whole Denise situation and Glenn, because don't forget, Glenn's the one that brought Tara in on this stuff, so she feels him, like, she probably, like, cared about him a lot too, because, I mean, obviously, she cares about everyone, but it's like Glenn was important to her too, because he's the one that helped save her. He brought her along. He accepted her, even though she was with the group, the governor, when he attacked the prison. He stayed by her side because she helped him get to Maggie, and it's just like, after everything they went through, losing each other and finding their way back to each other over and over again. After the prison, they found each other, and then here in Alexandria, when he was out there on the outside with Nicholas, that whole situation, and then, making his way back to save Maggie on top of that tower. It's just like they found each other, they were happy, and it's just things played out this way, and it's just, I'm very interested to see where they take the show now. It's like, what are they going to do? Like, obviously you have no choice but to fall in line. But the fact of the matter is, will it sit right with everyone? How's Morgan going to feel about this? How is Carol going to feel about this? Especially because she cares about Daryl too. And it's like, oh crap, Daryl's going. It's like, oh, Glenn's dead. She was part of the original group too. She literally, her, Carl, and Rick are the only ones of the original group left now. Everyone from season 1. So, is it Maggie? I think Maggie's the only person left from season 2 at this point, isn't she? Because everyone else that's a part of the team, well, part of the family, ended up coming along like season 3 and afterwards. So it's like Maggie's the closest thing after that. But like, yo, well, I almost completely forgot about like including Daryl to that because he was part of the OG crew too. But still, man, that's I can't say it enough, dude. Good and just shitty episode all around in that regard. It just, I can't talk about it anymore. I'm going to get super depressed. That's why I actually saved this recording for last, just because I had so much to say about that, and just I knew it'd be super depressing, and I knew I wouldn't want to do anything else afterwards. I know I should have done it in reverse. I should have done this first and everything else to kind of pick me up. I know this show is bleak and depressing, but man, this is just, to me, the most depressing episode ever. I mean, well, probably second because of the whole Jesse situation last season. That was kind of shitty. I mean, well, Sam, Ron, and I won't lie to you. I don't feel too bad about the whole Ron situation. He was kind of an asshole, but definitely to Sam, and more so than anything Jesse, because it was just kind of like that was his, first new thing since Lori. I mean, now he has Michonne, which kind of freaked me out. I was like, please don't let it be Michonne. He literally got love again, and it's like, don't take that away from him. So. But like I said, I'm gonna stop there before I just get even more depressed, and plus my head is hurting too. So crazy season premiere. I'm very interested to see where we go from here. But that's about it for this. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.